Hi, everyone. It's Lori White with the Greater Providence Chamber of Commerce, and today, episode number 200 and a very special edition of Chamber TV. We, of course, want to welcome Congressman David Cicilline, who just a few hours ago announced that he is leaving Congress to join the Rhode Island Foundation as its next president and CEO. Congratulations, Congressman. A big, big, big decision on your part.
Thank you.
So I think it's safe to say that you are trending. You are trending on every media outlet in America. I was just combing through some of the news stories, and it's an amazing turn of events. And I don't think anyone predicted this one. So tell us how you're feeling today. What's the most interesting thing that's been said to you today, or your most interesting impression?
Well, I mean, first, I'm very excited. As you know, Lori, the Rhode Island Foundation is one of the oldest and largest community foundations in America. It has a really incredible history, over 100 years of doing really important work in our state. And so to have the opportunity to lead this great institution kind of into the next level of its work is very exciting. Neil Steinberg, who has been the executive director and CEO and president, has done an extraordinary job. But I think community foundations are particularly suited to help, meet some of the greatest challenges we face. And when you look at the work of the Rhode Island Foundation, it's about making sure Rhode Islanders have access to quality, affordable health care, creating economic opportunity for all Rhode Islanders, and making sure that we do all we can to improve the quality of public education to give young people a chance to succeed. That's been my life's work for 30 years. And so in many ways, having served in state government, as the mayor of Providence, and now in Congress, I think it has really positioned me and prepared me perfectly for this role. And I'm really excited about working in a place where, people are committed to getting things done. And I have no doubt in my new role, I can do more to have a positive impact in Rhode Island and on Rhode Islanders than I will over the next few years in the House. So I'm very, very excited.
So lots of feedback, no doubt. Today you're getting a huge amount of accolades from your fellow congressional members. Tell us about the most interesting thing that's happened today.
Yeah, I mean, it's been wonderful to hear from colleagues who are excited for me and recognize it's a tremendous opportunity, and I'm confident I'm going to do great things in this new role, but are sad about not having me as a colleague. So that's been wonderful. I had one of my closest friends, someone who's been a mentor to me, Rosa DeLauro, who called me from Europe and, was a little teary-eyed about my departure, and several others. But it reminds you that, the friendships you've built up over 12 years means something. And it's great. I've had the privilege of working with great people. And I know they're all going to continue to do great things in Congress. So that's been very gratifying, and lots of nice words from colleagues here in Rhode Island. And I think the thing that really struck me throughout the day is how deeply respected the Rhode Island Foundation is, how central their work is to so many of the important issues facing Rhode Island. And so it gets me even more excited about having the privilege of being the president and CEO of this really important institution.
I will leave the mechanics about what's next and the special election and the control of the House to our journalists and political pundits. But for the purposes of this discussion, Congressman, I just wanted to maybe narrow in on, the thought processes, because folks listening to this, business people, everybody, feels as though at some point, they can say, oh, okay, the job is done, or they've reached a certain inflection point in their career, and, it becomes a bit of an existential moment. So I was curious, you've written this book, House on Fire, came out, a few months ago. And during this, production or the writing of this book, it occurred to me, did you have such a moment where, your intuition kind of kicked in and you said, do I really want to do this for the rest of my life? Take us through some of
the book, actually, it wasn't during the writing of the book. I just got elected, so I wasn't really thinking about leaving Congress or, looking for a new job. And in fact, I didn't actually apply for this job. I was contacted by the search firm that was hired by the foundation to assist them in identifying a new president and CEO. And he asked first to meet with me. And of course, although I didn't really have a particular interest in the job, I have reverence for the Rhode Island Foundation. So of course I agreed to meet and kind of hear more about it. And that began a series of conversations over the last couple of months, which, really I studied the foundation more closely and really understood what the opportunity was to lead this great organization and to build upon the work that I had done over the last 30 years in elective office. And I ultimately became convinced, particularly in the last couple of weeks, that I was absolutely certain that I could get more done and be able to see the effects of the work in this role as president and CEO. And, when I ran for the state legislature, when I ran for mayor of province, when I ran for Congress, the reason I ran for all those offices was the same. I wanted to do everything I could to make life better for Rhode Islanders. And it became really clear to me toward the end of this discussion with the Rhode Island Foundation that I would have a much greater ability to do that, to improve the life of Rhode Islanders in this role than I would in the House over the next several years. So the board met this morning and formally, moved to recommend to offer me this job, and I accepted it. So it was really about, just wanting to be in a place where I knew I could get things done. I'm very proud of the work we got done in the last Congress. I think it was the most consequential Congress of my service. I recognize this Congress is going to be much more difficult. The Republican majority is now kind of focused on a range of other issues that I think are less important to Rhode Islanders. So I think it's going to be difficult to get things done. And the Rhode Island Foundation presented me with an opportunity to continue to make a difference. And I'm really excited that I was asked to take on this position.
So what would you tell other folks that are in a similar position where they're, questioning where they are in life, and how did you weigh such a thing? And I know you said you wanted to come back home to Rhode Island. Rhode Island is where your heart has been always.
Yeah.
But again, it couldn't be a more stark contrast considering you were in the center of, drawing up impeachment papers for the president, and reining in big tech, Facebook and Google, and being on the House Judiciary Committee. So, those are big stakes. And how do you wrap your mind around the next chapter of your life and feel really good about it?
Yeah. I mean, the first thing is, I reflected, I've actually been in elective office for almost 30 years. So just about half of my life. And I have enjoyed every minute of it. And I hope when people look back on my work, they'll see that I was someone who got things done in all of those positions I had. And, I just came to a point in my life, I think, where not only does this give me the opportunity to come home, but it allows me to continue the work that I love and to build on all the kind of policy work that I've done for 30 years, all the relationships that I've built, all the context I have, and leverage all of that into the work of the Rhode Island Foundation to make it an even more impactful and more significant organization. And, one of the things I miss about Congress is, when you're a mayor of a city, you can see very directly the consequences of your work. You kind of see it up close. In Congress, it's a little more distant. And so the Rhode Island Foundation, to me, is returning to not only all this great work, but it's also an opportunity to kind of see the impact of it up close. It's also, has a particular position in Rhode Island as a statewide community foundation, as a really important convener. Because of its, deep respect as an honest broker, as a trusted institution, it has a unique position to bring people together to help address some of the most vexing challenges we face. And so I think in that way, it's going to put me at the center of everything that matters to Rhode Islanders. And while that's different than Washington, it's still going to be an opportunity to make a real difference. And I'm excited about working with the board. I'm excited about an extraordinary group of grantees that are doing the actual work on the ground. And, for me, it just felt like the time was right to take this opportunity. And I think there was a lot of excitement in the board. They unanimously appointed me to this position, which is a strong vote of confidence. So I'm excited about it. It's sort of the next chapter. I always imagined I would have one part of my life, which was practicing law. The second part was going to be elective office. And I always anticipated a third chapter. I just didn't know for sure what it was going to be. I thought about being a university president. I thought about a foundation. So this was something I've been thinking about for a while.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So it has been something you've been thinking about for a
I mean,
while.
just like what would I do kind of into my final chapter of my life, not the foundation. This sort of came to be because of Neil's retirement.
Yeah. Well, at age 61, you have plenty of runway, indeed. You're an expert communicator. You have tremendous empathy. You are a scholar, you know, beyond beyond the pale. Let's talk a little bit about what you're going to do to, perhaps reintroduce yourself to Rhode Islanders and have the luxury really of not looking at life and all the issues through a political lens.
Yeah.
How will that look for you?
No, I think that's really important. I mean, this role is obviously quite different. I mean, the underlying issues may have been issues I've worked on for a long time, but it's different to be someone who's in a political kind of fight on these issues and maybe having people on the other side of the aisle who disagree. The foundation is different. I mean, it has to be, it's obviously a nonpartisan organization. It has the ability to, and the requirement really to work with people of very different political views, but that are share a concern about a particular issue. It's an opportunity, obviously, to meet with and find new donors who make contributions to the foundation to do its work. It's an opportunity to make sure that what we're doing is actually working, and so that we're accountable, so that we can persuade donors that these are good investments. So there's a lot to learn about leading a community foundation. But what I'm excited about is, it's sort of all of the good work without the politics. So it's like, you're getting to work on how do we eliminate homelessness in Rhode Island? How do we improve the quality of our public schools? How do we make sure Rhode Islanders can access healthcare? But looking at it from like, what are the best policies? How can we convene people to come up with the best plan, the best thinking? And then, importantly, put some resources into executing that strategy. Because I think that's one of the other things that's critical about the Rhode Island Foundation. It's not just its ability to convene and bring people together and solve complicated issues, but it's really about the resources it puts to that work. And so that combination, I think, creates some really unique opportunities to, address some of the biggest challenges we face in Rhode Island. And I think because of the respect that everyone from the governor to the speaker to our federal delegation has for the Rhode Island Foundation, it's going to be a tremendous opportunity to help shape some of these solutions and have a real impact.
Before Neil's tenure, or after Neil came into the Rhode Island Foundation, I think it's fair to say that he played a more activist role in helping to shape policy from an apolitical perspective, as you termed it, and actually jumping in and putting resources in and convening individuals to think through solutions to vexing problems, using your words. So, what are your thoughts on being a past mayor of the city of Providence and the probably one of, if not the single most important issue facing the city today is the public schools. I imagine you've given this a tremendous amount of thought coming into the role.
Yeah, I mean, I think both housing and education are two really obvious areas where I think there's tremendous challenge for our state, and a lot of people are doing a lot of thinking about that right now. I think one of the things that is very important is, this is a unique moment for a couple of reasons. One, there is an unprecedented amount of federal money that has come to Rhode Island as a result of a hardworking federal delegation, and how we use that and being certain that we use that in a way that effectively, transforms public education, as an example, or effectively rebuilds the Rhode Island economy is really critical. This is a once in a generation opportunity. And I think the foundation has already played a role and will continue to play a role in making sure that that happens. And I think some of the education work the foundation has done thus far, and again, I have a lot to learn and kind of get caught up to speed with all the work, but it's been very focused on teacher quality, principal quality, key parts of improving public education. There's a lot of other things, and obviously the foundation can't do everything. But I think one of the things that new leadership to the Rhode Island Foundation provides is an opportunity to kind of look at the strategic plan, look at the priorities that the foundation has already identified, look at the targets that they have identified to measure success, and be sure that we are focusing on the right things, measuring it the right way, and so kind of refreshing the the strategic plan, I think, will be one of the early things that I'll lead once I take the role in June.
Well, we are anxious to be continue to be a strong partner to you and also to the Rhode Island Foundation. And we had a very strong working relationship with Neil Steinberg, and he's done a fabulous job really
Yes.
raising the bar and making the foundation a place where smart minds come together and solve problems in a really constructive way. So we only have a minute or two left. I did want to ask you about some other reaction. Now, what did former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi have to say about all
Well,
this? So
I think,
the
yeah,
room, you didn't want to serve without her being the speaker.
right, exactly. Look, I think like so many of my colleagues, everyone I spoke to expressed, congratulations to me, sadness that they weren't going to get to serve with me. But I assured all of my colleagues, I consider the friendships that I've developed real ones, and we're going to stay friends, and I'm going to stay in close contact with all of them. And, they're not rid of me for good. So those friendships will endure.
Okay, well, we look forward to having you at future chamber events. We are, it's curious that there will be only 3 individuals on the stage this year for our annual congressional breakfast on June 12th. But hopefully you'll be in the audience and you'll be cheering us all on.
And I look forward to it. Thanks.
All right. Well, thanks for being with us today, Congressman. And I know you have, you mentioned you have 253 text messages come in the last half hour alone. You're trying to keep up with them. So we really appreciate your time, and we will definitely see you soon and be in touch.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.